Welcome to workshop 2 of the Microsoft Access series database design and development. So before we talk about workshop 2, we just quickly recap what we have learned in workshop 1. Right, so last week we covered the concept of logical designs for database, and in particular there are three main objects that you need to know. Entities have attributes, and between entities we have relationship. And also we talk about ERD diagrams, which is capturing the relationship between entity in a diagram format. So you can look at on the right hand side here to see an ERD but in the access format. In here we have captured the entity customer, and then the customer have a range of attributes, and also between the venues we also have a range of attributes, and between the customer and venues we have a relationship. From the logical design we will change to physical designs, and so we have kind of conversion table like this. So entity will become tables, attribute become field in the tables, and the relationship between the entity or tables are set up through foreign key and primary key. So as you can see in this screen, right, so you can see that the customer ID in the customer table will become a foreign key in the venue table, and then by linking these two common fields between the two tables or entity, then the relationship is set up. Okay, so what we cover in workshop 1, we learned how to create and design tables. And remember, tables is the only place to store data in a database. Yeah? So we create a blank database, we import the data into the database using import feature. We learn how to set different fields, properties, field data type, input mask, caption, field size, and also linking the two tables together using the primary key and foreign key. So I show again this relationship in an Access database. Yeah, so we go to database tools and relationship. Here you see that these are the relationship in Microsoft Access, and between the customer and venue you have all of the field names attributes, field name attributes of the venues. Then we link in the customer and the venue together. So this is how we capture the relationship in Microsoft Access. So last week we also talked about HammerWise database, and in HammerWise we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different tables. Yeah, and between tables we have relationship. For example, between customer and venues we have one-to-many relationship. One customer can have many venues. Each venues belong to one customer. That's why we call it one-to-many. Alright, so this week we learn about forms. A simple way to enter data, browse and edit existing data. So what is a form? So let me open a form between customer and venues. In tables we store information, but in form we display information in a way that you can much more easily to work with. Yeah, because it look more professional, it's more easy to understand and connect information together. It also can link multiple tables together and show in one form. So like in this one here, you see that customer information is on the top, and then the venue belong to that customer are displayed underneath. And when you browse through the customer, you also see all of the venue belong to that customer here. Alright. Also in the form they have more functions like buttons and buttons here. So this will help you to navigate through the database more quickly and more intuitively. So that is a form. And very similar to forms, to table design, form also have form designs, and in the form they have different properties, section, label, navigation buttons, command buttons. So this workshop we will go through all of these functions, and also each of the property in the objects in the database in the forms, we can be classified about, would mean it connect to underlying tables. Unbound, it can be title, can be graphics, can be label. It's not connecting to a field in a tables. Or calculated fields, which means it's derived the values from a formula. So not actually stored in the database, but it can be calculated based on other values. So this week we learned how to create a form, but not just a normal form, because a main form and a subform. So this equivalent to the one-to-many relationship. Yeah, because we want to link the one table with the many table in the same form. For example, from customer and venues. So the customer is shown in the main form, and the menu and the venue will be shown in the subform. So today we'll learn how to do that. Okay. So here, when you finish, you can have a main form which is showing the customer information like this one, and subform is the venue belong to that customer. Alright, now I will do quickly, show you quickly how to create a form. So let me close everything. And here in the database we have under create on the top, create, and then you see that you can create a range of objects, and in this case we will use form, and then we use the form wizard. This will take you through the process of creating a form, which can be very simple, because form only to display information, so it need to get information from somewhere, right? So in this case we want to create a form for customer and venue. So first we need to select where the information came from. Yeah, so we select customer because it have from the field that came from the customer. Now you can select one by one from the customer to put into the form, right? Or you can just select all of them in one click. So you click on the double arrows. Now the second field that we need to show is the venue. Customer have venues, right? So again, I will select on the field from the venue. So we select customer and we select the venues. Alright, when you click next, to ask how do you want to view your data. So you can group by the customer. So the customer will be on the top on the main form, and the venues will be underneath in the subform. So we go form with subform. In this workshop, we just choose this option. And then you can choose tabular or datasheet. So we choose datasheet for the subform. It will ask you to name it. Yes, you can accept the default names like this. So let's finish. Alright, as you can see, Access will create the form for you, even though they don't look very good at the beginning, right? So what we want is at the end we have something look a bit more professional, like this one. Okay, so this is what we want to achieve after you design the form. It look more well aligned, yeah, buttons, so it look much more balanced than the default form that might Access create for us. Alright, so to design the form similar to the table, you right click on the forms and you go to the design view. Alright, from here you will see that we have a few objects that you need to know. So let me show you this. Remember, when we talk about inner forms, there are three main objects type. We call bound, unbound, and calculated. So if you look at the form here in the database, right? So you see the customer, and on the left hand side you see there's a name. So this one name here is the label, right? So that means you make the name for this field. So this label here is the unbound, right? Unbound, because they only display the label of this data field. This data field here got the information form. So you look at on the right hand side, okay, control source, it came from a field in the table, right? And this field we call bound field because it linked to the back-end tables, right? The label can be changed freely, anything you like to describe about a field, but the bound field or this data field here, you must use that correctly, because if you type in something that's not in the list, not in the table, and then if I go back to the form view, you will see, voila, there's something wrong, because they cannot find that field names in the link in the backend table. So it will show you there's an error. So I need to make sure this field must come exactly like what we have in the backend table. Okay, now some other object we learned in the database design is that this one we call the form header, and then the detail and the form footer. Okay, so in this workshop you will learn a bit about how we can modify this field so it look better. Alright, so it look better here. We can move the field together across the form, right? Okay, so you can move the form like this. You can also change the header so it look more the way you want, changing the header. Alright, and then we also learn how to insert new field into the form like this. For example, I want to add something in my footer, and in the design, you look at in the design view that you can add label, you can add text box, you can add buttons into anywhere on the form. So for example, I want to add some label, so I put this a label that have my name. Okay, so this is my label. Okay, also I can also add button. So I go to the design on the top, buttons, and click on where I want to add the buttons. Here you are, buttons wizards, and in this button you can see it have a range of options that you can use. So it depends on what the task you can do. For example, record navigation, so you want to go find next, by record, go to first record, last record. Record operations, so you want to add new, delete, duplicate, print, form operation, report operations, so a range of categories you can choose from. Okay, for example, I want to add a new records for that button. Alright, I go select, I would say add records, next, give it a name, go add records, and finish. Here you are, you got a button in the form. Now to see the changes that you make, go to the form view. Alright, so it will change the layout a little bit. It add a label here at the bottom, and it have a button called add records. So when I click on here, it allows you to add a new record into the form. Alright, and if you are not happy, you can go back to the design form and start changing. Alright, so pretty much this workshop we cover how to create a form, getting the information from more than one table, two tables in this case. We also learn how to design briefly, changing the design of the form, and also make more improvement by adding labels and buttons into the form like this. So that's pretty much the end of the workshop 2. Okay, we'll see you in the class.